What makes a person of interest? Coach Micheal Burt cuts to the chase, interviewing some of the biggest names in the world. How do they think? What makes them tick? What are their thought processes? And how they became a person of interest.
Hello, sir.
Hey, afternoon, Coach Burt. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am doing fantastic in the French Quarter. Sunny day in Louisiana. Road warrior, but no rest for the weary, right?
I know the feeling.
I know you do.
I know the feeling. Well, I want to spend some time with you. We're recording this, so I just want to spend time, and we're just going to talk because you and I are partnering on some things that we want to roll out for insurance agents to help them perform at a higher level.
Right.
And you've got a unique background that I want to hear more about, and some of the things you've done through the insurance agency. And, obviously I've coached some of the top insurance people in the world, some of the top performers in the world.
Right.
And, when you get to see that much of a sample size, you see the same problems and you see the same issues and you see the same opportunities and all of those things. So let's start because we're going to be rolling out a 4-week series with you and I.
Right.
On the habits of the top 1% of insurance people in the world. And I think it's just a fascinating subject of how do we elevate ourselves to where the top performers are. And top performers have habits, right? Many years ago, I was a big disciple of Covey. He had the 7 habits. And I was at least smart enough, Brandon, to go, okay, those are habits of successful people. I need to practice those.
Right.
But before we get into kind of some of those things, what I want to talk about is tell us what you're doing today as it relates to your insurance role. And then I want you to go back and say, I started here and I ended up right here. And this is what I'm doing right now. So even I understand everything you're doing right now in the insurance space.
Right. Well, and actually, certainly, even with Covey, beginning with the end in mind, what I'm doing today is actually CEO of Senior Market Advisors, which is one of the largest Medicare health distributors in the country. And in that role, we actually take, some of the largest sub-agencies in the country, partners, and help them grow and develop their businesses, which ultimately, no matter how we slice this, begins and ends with the individual agent who will either sit at the kitchen table with a beneficiary or may do something virtually, telephonically. But at the end of the day, Coach, nothing happens without that agent. So we may build these amazing systems and businesses and processes, but if it doesn't impact at some point that individual agent, it all falls flat, which by way of even this conversation is, I think, where the need exists within the industry, because we've commoditized agents. We just figure, let's just get a bunch of them. And we'll bell curve 80-20, and some amount of that is natural. But at the same time, some of those agents are one ingredient away from breaking out. And if the system doesn't provide them the avenue for that 1% or finding that one missing ingredient, it'll be tough for them to be in the top 1%. So I think this is magical work we're trying to do here.
So today, your business goes out and helps agents and agencies perform at a higher level, right?
Right.
And by giving them tools and mindsets and training and different things to be successful.
Well, I would say, even as you explicitly say mindset, while I think we do things that provide that amount of support and guidance, I don't think we do enough. I think most of it is predicated around, platforms, products, and systems as much as the whole 4-part person. So I do think that there is a great need for a little more of a holistic approach to helping these agents, agencies, and business owners. It goes up and down the continuum. It's not just that agent that walks into Mrs. Jones' home. It's everything that happens up the ladder.
Yeah. Everything I try to tell people, everything I do is based on a series of beliefs, a set of beliefs. I believe trained people always outperform untrained people, right? I believe that the brain serves the function of survival, but not thriving. I believe that in playing offense versus defense in business, right? I believe there's certain structures that insurance agents need, where they need to know how to explain their value. They need to know how to prospect and generate leads. They need to know how to follow up and convert leads. They need to know how to extract referrals. They need to know how to become people of interest. So when I look at insurance agents, I look at this habits of the top 1%, which are like remarkable boldness, intrinsic motivation, ability to lock in and see something through to its conclusion, connection, which you're really good at, and community. I look at bounce back and resilience, right? These are habits of top performers that you could say, okay, I'm missing these habits. But there's also very tactical. You got to know how to get, like you said, sit across the kitchen table, locate a problem, make a person feel comfortable. Why don't insurance agents get that training?
Well, so wow, you really, again, you're touching on so many things. I've kind of divided the hemisphere of sales into the scientific side, which is the prospecting. You can go along empirical data, X% of pieces in the mail, X% response rate. And if sales training and products are aligned right, you'll get a good conversion, and someone will make either a good living, eke out a living, or they may be in the 1% and have breakout 7-figure success. On that other side of that spectrum, and there's some things lacking in the traditional models today around just that scientific element, but then there's that artful, idiosyncratic piece. You mentioned grit, determination, discipline, things that are somewhat intangible. And, there's the old adage that can't be taught. At the same time, I think you can instill behaviors and systems for people where they can engraft some amount of that into their life. And when they start to see success layered with the scientific component, I think it starts to develop. That's where I like to think that word goes from training versus development. It takes that rote skill that was drilled in through a training process and allows that person to embed it in such a way that they can actualize it, in their daily environment. But coach, along the line, because most of these processes are not curriculum based, they're just more episodic. Oh, it's time to get certified. Here's XYZ product. Do this, do this, do this. Now you're ready, but what are you ready for? Because you haven't been fully equipped with all the armament. So I do think, like the thing we're talking about from a series standpoint, becomes part of that curriculum that probably for many will be the missing ingredient, and probably for many will be an aha moment that gives them a realization that I haven't not been successful because of my own failings. I've just not had all the tools. So I think that's an opportunity.
Well, I think about, when we're going to be teaching these habits of the top 1% to folks, and, we're both going to be breaking them down. Like it's easy to say remarkable boldness is a habit of the top 1%. Now, tell me what that means to an insurance agent. It means having the ability and conviction to ask for the sale. It means having the boldness to follow up. It means having the boldness to ask for referral. It means having the boldness to be known in the world. Like, see, when you start, like today, I was teaching this concept of ability to lock in and how to have boldness. And I do this with people, and they'll come back to me a week later and say, man, I closed 12 deals this week because you kind of taught me how to be bold. And I have a success school for kids that is all built on the habits of the top 1%. So we're teaching children remarkable boldness, intrinsic motivation, because they're not learning it. So then they go get their insurance license, right? And maybe they have boldness, but they don't know how to connect. Or maybe they have connection, but they don't have boldness. So I really think part of our training that we're going to do is going to be showing them, okay, here's a habit of the top 1%. Brandon, tell me how this applies based on your years in the insurance business of going to that next frequency, right? What does remarkable boldness mean to you? And how could an insurance agent apply it when they're asking for a sale and they're not afraid of rejection?
Right. Well, I think it's all the things you noted. And, certainly there's going to be varying skill sets amongst people, but you can either have compensatory boldness, as I like to say. You can do things that maybe you're not as gifted in, but at the same time, they lead you to the part of the sale process where you are extremely gifted. Some are just not tactically great at setting the appointment to then go and ask for the sale, but they're tremendous at asking for the sale. But somewhere through that diagnostic process, I think it's about helping each person at an individual level determine where there are some deficiencies in areas of boldness so that they can either work on those weaknesses and turn them into strengths, or in the case of that appointment setting environment, possibly hire for it. Because what I also find, coach, is that some people don't have the boldness to invest. Number one, they don't have the boldness to acknowledge an area of deficiency. And then if there is some modeled opportunity in the environment, to have the boldness to say, you know what, I'm going to take 10% of my revenue that I normally would need to live on to make sure my family pays this mortgage, to invest in that area of deficiency, whether it's self-development, like a program we're going to talk about, or systems where there are plug and play opportunities to do it. So for me, in my day-to-day evaluation of agents at large, it's about defining what that area of lack of boldness or proficiency might be, and do something tangible, actionable to cover that until it becomes a developed skill and an embedded habit. But I'm in absolute agreement with you.
When did you get turned on to personal development?
So I was really fortunate. My dad was college educated, was a big reader. I've got a huge library at home. He actually gave me some of my first personal development books when I was in my teens. And while I provided a little bit of lip service and Cliff Notes rebuttal, or reciting some of the things that were in those books, 3 or 4 very specifically come to mind: As a Man Thinketh, James Allen, several of the old Charles Fillmore, the Unity books that all talked about positivity, affirmations, things of that nature. So Coach Burt, for me, it was sort of by design that my dad put so much of that material in front of me, not realizing that I would be the full manifestation of that maybe he didn't even see in his full lifetime. But that's where it all got started. And when I began to see it work in my life, I just became hungry to be a student.
You know, I was thinking as you were talking about that, when I was 15 years old, I had a local dentist in my city that had a dramatic arts background. He ran the art center, and he took an interest in me. And every year he took one kid and he taught them how to speak. And for some reason he chose me. And he said, after basketball practice, I want you to come up to my house every day, and I'm going to teach you how to write. I'm going to teach you how to speak. I'm going to teach you how to communicate, how to make eye contact. And that same year, my school sent me to the Broy Hill Leadership Academy, which was one week in North Carolina that the Broy Hill family created. And I remember being scared to death. I'm going to be away from my family. I'm going to be around kids I don't know. I'm going to fly on an airplane, and I'm going to be out in the middle of this camp, right? And man, for 1 week, they poured things into us like Covey's 7 Habits, leadership principles. And I went back home to my little bitty town, and I had a new perspective on life. I said, man, I want to lead. I want to be out front. I want to pour into people. I'm interested in this personal development. And I just think about those pivotal moments, but many people never experience that. So life is hard and it's tough. It's hard enough as it is, but it's hard when you don't have the tools that you need and the training that you need. And you know, at first when I read through the competency levels, like there's unconscious incompetence, right? I didn't pay attention to that. I'm like, oh, whatever. But the older I get, the more I'm like, dang, unconscious incompetence is you don't even know what you don't even know. And you don't even know to go get it from somebody. Okay. So, you know, then it's like conscious incompetence, which is, man, I know that I don't know. I know that I could be operating at a higher level. How do I go get it? How do I go learn? So how important is this mentorship and getting this coaching, and what's the correlation between that and performance?
Well, you know, certainly it's correlative at a minimum on a one-to-one. To the degree that you pour into someone, you're going to get at least that as throughput. But I believe it has a compounding effect. I mean, it's the old get 1% better, and over some aggregate amount of time, I think Atomic Habits, you're going to be some 37% better. Depends on, you know, obviously It's a little bit qualitative. But you said something a moment ago, Coach, that reminds me of the things that I've been fortunate, and what we're talking about here, in that unconsciously incompetent, you don't know that you don't know, but exposure you going to that camp and getting that poured into you over a weekend, all of a sudden that exposure gives you a drive for excellence that you wouldn't have even known about had you not had the exposure. So I think in that sense of once that person's been exposed to, as we continue to talk about, boldness, if we show them a better path, and then we actually coach them and lead them and guide them along some, again, curriculum or some continuum or some progressive path, I believe it yields tenfold, 50-fold, 100-fold. In the industry that we're in, it's Medicare very predominantly, but I've got a whole group of agents that I started with as neophytes that were never even licensed, knew nothing about this. And many of them are generating on a renewal basis, $250,000, $300,000 a year. And these were agents that were selling one type of product, making $30,000, $40,000 a year, struggling. So if I talk about the compounding correlative impact of coaching, eventually the student will exceed the master in their ability to do the work. It's the old George Bernard Shaw, those that can do, those that maybe don't want to do it as much, but want to transfer skill, coach. And I do believe that everyone, to your point, I know this is one of your mantras, everyone needs a coach. And in some instances, I think everyone has a coach. The question is the coach teaching on the things that are needed through diagnostic review, or is it actually a coach that's really vested in your growth? And sometimes that type of alignment is important.
Yeah, I was thinking about this concept of coaching because so many people believe that you go to coaching because something's wrong with you. Right before this session, I was coaching 5 guys that are making $500,000 a month. And they hired me to be their coach. And they're going through a program we have called Super Drive, which is a lot about just getting to this freakish level that you're capable of getting to. But they all said, I need a coach. I need to go to the next level. So a lot of people look at coaching incorrectly. You don't get a coach because something's wrong with you. Right. You get a coach because you have a lot more potential. And the coach is skilled, like a great insurance agent is skilled at selling insurance. A coach is skilled at taking your talent and potential and manifesting that into another level. All the top insurance people have a coach, by the way, right? So when you think about this, we're going to spend 4 weeks going through these habits, right? We're going to go through remarkable boldness and intrinsic motivation and connection and follow up. We're going to go through bounce back and resilience. We're going to go through ability to lock in and see something through to its conclusion. You and I are going to be coaching on these things. Why wouldn't an insurance person be thinking a bigger play? Like, do they all think like at some point I want to build an agency that I could promote or build teams, or should they be thinking that way?
Well, they should absolutely be thinking about maximizing the opportunity that's in front of them, whatever form that might take, whether it is as an individual producer, but yet at the same time running satellited systems around them. So they're not just a one-arm paper hanger, busy agent. I think that's one of the things that is a curse within our industry. And then if they do want to create systems, agencies, and build, there are those avenues. But Coach, we just both recently attended an event that would have had some of the best in the business in attendance. They would certainly gravitate towards self-development. That was a given, or else they wouldn't have paid to be at the event. They would want to be 1% performers. But I did in one of my sessions, and I do this just about everywhere I go, we have a product that in essence is paid for by the federal government. So for all intents and purposes, it's free, 0 premium. The renewals are lifetime. So it's a really great revenue and renewal opportunity. But I had people stand up if they had a 6-figure income, and in addition, if they had a 6-figure renewal. Unfortunately, probably only 10 to 15% of that room remained standing as it related to a 6-figure renewal in an environment where the product is free and it is in high demand and need. So what's missing in mindset of those 4 qualities you just described that would indicate they'd be a 1%er by activity, and then a high 6-figure renewal earner by in terms of the opportunity, whether that's as an individual agent or as an agency owner. But then I posed one more question and said, anyone that's a millionaire, stand. And coach, out of about 600 people, you saw the scale of the room. That's inclusive of the attendees and the people that were running the booths. We probably had 10 millionaires, which to me, I wouldn't say was disappointing. It's just indicative of the fact that people have not maximized, and they've likely not maximized, not because there's not the right products, the right training as it relates to products, and the right opportunity. It's something about intrinsic motivation, about boldness, the things you listed.
Yep.
There's something missing, because then I asked the question, who wants to be a millionaire? And at least 80% of the room stood up.
Yep.
So I know I went a long way around it, but that was a very specific instance where all the ingredients to success relative to financial, quantitative were there, but yet only a small fraction were maximizing and optimizing the opportunity.
Yeah. And so I think it's really good that you said that, because I believe your income is in direct proportion to your skill set.
Right.
The stronger your skills, the more money you're going to make. That's why I always say Navy SEALs, not baby SEALs. And if you're have these habits of the top 1%, and you're really learning these habits of the top 1%, you can identify, this is where I'm struggling. This is where I need, right? I'm missing this remarkable boldness he's talking about. I'm missing this intrinsic motivation. We'll talk about because goals. I'm missing this resilience and bounce back. I'm missing the ability to lock in, stay focused, not be distracted, to stay focused on high value activity, on money generating activity. You know, because to your point, the goal is to get to at least $1 million of personal income. And that will change your life, right? That will literally change your life. So I'm excited about this 4-week series that we're going to do. And we wanted to just kind of get together and highlight some things, because you're operating at a very high level. You've seen what the best do. You've been involved in big acquisition. You've been involved in seeing teams work. You've been involved in pretty much every facet of this, right? And I've been involved in coaching so many people for so many years that I see what the little baby stars need that are just getting started, all the way up to what we call the Blue Marlins, right? So why should a person sign up for this? It's going to be a 4-week course. It's going to be you and I teaching together. It's going to be a shot every week for 4 weeks. It's going to be a very low entry point to get in, which is, you know, it's going to be something you can just get in there during the day and just boom, watch, or go back and watch the replay. You know, but I really believe once you learn the habits of the top 1%, you can measure yourself versus those habits. You can start acquiring those habits. You and I are going to be very practical about what people can do every day once they know these habits, to tie it to their performance, because our goal really is to help them get a significant increase. So tell them why you think they should join us for that 4-week series.
Well, certainly, I think, number one, I'm a big believer in self-development. I gave a bit of my story in my address to the group last week, and everything that you're outlining, and it maybe had a different name and a different approach to doing it, but it helped me to basically come out of the muck and mire of obscurity, and to a degree even poverty, just being candid, and help me see, you know, success at really high levels. But you also described it in those 5 people you just finished coaching that are generating extreme personal incomes on a monthly basis. The first thing is, I think people need to have a recognition that self-development is not money or time wasted.
Yep.
Number 2, I think they need to realize that if I can have someone create a diagnosis for me, you know, without, you know, a prognosis with that diagnosis that can lead to success, it creates a roadmap. And then iteratively, they can perform and get better. But I believe if you just continue to do things believing you can self-diagnose and at some point, you know, heal yourself, in essence, that's a little bit myopic, a little bit selfish, and it's a little bit misguided, because eventually you need someone to come alongside you. I think even with those gentlemen or the people you just coached, they probably have a lot of awareness of what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing it, but need accountability. Need someone to make sure that they're doing those things that will help them reach the next level. So as you can see, again, I'm very passionate about the fact that people should be honed in. And because of the way we would approach this for their growth, I think it's one of those programs that, especially with a low barrier to entry relative to cost, no one should miss this. And again, I see this as a major gap and deficit in the industry today, and that's coaching.
And we want to help you. We really want to help you. We've coached almost everybody, to Brandon's point, almost every form of insurance that you can imagine. At the end of the day, we want to help you activate that prey drive in you to go pursue your potential. But we want to give you the tools and skills needed so you can really become great at what it is you do. I think the people who are going to win in today's society are the people who are the best at what they do. Direct correlation between income and skills. Direct correlation between income and habits of the top producers. Direct correlation between coaching and income. So 4-week series, Brandon Clay and I, it's going to be incredibly exciting. We're going to pop in there 4 back-to-back weeks. He'll coach, I'll coach. We're going to give you everything you need. And I have seen as much as a 30 or 40% increase during this month with people. And I've literally seen people go, signed up more clients than I've ever signed up in a week because of this one concept of remarkable boldness. So it's very possible if you come hungry, if you come humble, if you come teachable. We're going to post the links. You can sign up. We're going to be promoting it out to the marketplace. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then look for us to do more things for the insurance industry to really go out and help people perform at a high level in the future, because that's our goal. So Brandon, thank you, man. Thanks for coming in today.
Well, thank you, Coach Burt. Looking forward to it, and just excited and appreciate the opportunity to work with you here.
All right, buddy. Have a great day. God bless you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Before I get started, there is one very important question I have to ask you.
Coach Micheal Burt, Monster Producer Academy CEO. He's a personal friend of mine.
What good is it to have knowledge with no desire? What good is it to have desire with no skill? What good is it to have knowledge and skill with no confidence?
A big part of activating your prey drive is finding and refining your talent. This is something that helps you get to the next place.
People are made up of 4 parts: a body, a mind, a heart, and a spirit.
You need to know you, and then you need to have an awareness, and sometimes you don't even know what you need.
So all 4 parts of our nature have to be clicking. Your hard skill solves my problem. The bigger the problem, the more money people will pay to solve it.
Everything is valuable to your future. What I'm really paying you for is your past.
A monster producer combines multiple skills to dominate a market.
When you get to wake up every day and do what you love doing, man, it is hard not to be motivated.
They think at a higher ordinance than everybody else. They want to create new things.
I have a conviction about me, and that's the conviction that you feel when I talk, when I speak. It comes across as passion.
You got to learn how to connect to another person at such a deep level that it moves them. You have goals, you have targets, but you don't have a sense of urgency.
They're going to exchange money, energy. They're going to raise capital. They're going to start new businesses. There's going to be joint ventures.
I think your purpose finds you. It is activated. The word activate means to initiate.
Discipline, which is a derivative of the word disciple, which means to give yourself to a person or cause you believe in. Do you believe in your future, yes or no?
When we know better, we do better. Finding the problem that you are uniquely qualified to solve, and you don't know what problem you really solve for whom, then there is no big financial exchange right there. You should leave here thinking bigger today than when you came.
And I want to shake your hand and look you in the eyeball when you make this decision. Thank you. We'll see you in the back. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.